There are a lot of videos out there in YouTube that talk about what things to look out for when investing in real estate. But in today's video, I want to talk about 3 unspoken factors that you need to keep an eye out for when you're investing in real estate. So stay tuned. Hello everyone, if you're new here, my name is Abbas Pardhan. I'm a property investor and I'm an owner of an estate agency called 10x Rising. On this channel, I share with you the inside of what we go through on a day-to-day basis that may help you on your property journey. So if you enjoy the content, please smash the like button, subscribe and hit the notification bell so you do not miss the next videos. The first thing that you need to keep an eye out for is timing. When is it that you're entering into the housing market? Timing is everything. It is very crucial because housing markets tend to work in cycles. You could either be buying a property at the top of its cycle, or you could be buying it at the bottom of its cycle where the property prices are just going to be shooting up. So when you're investing at the top of the cycle, at the peak of it, that's not going to get you the best of the returns, because the cycle will always correct itself. In the UK, perhaps every 8 to 10 years, the prices, the housing market will always correct itself. Just look at the example right now, exactly what is happening in the market today. After COVID, people expected property prices to drop. But hey, what happened instead? Property prices just going up and up and up, that they were not being reasonable anymore. Property prices just going up. When we would advertise a property on the market, we would get so much interest that we would think, where are these people getting the money from? Money was being printed and printed and printed. So house prices were just going up and up and up. What's happening now? Interest rates are rising because they want to match the inflation, drop inflation. So what's happening? As interest rates are going up, people who are not on their fixed mortgages, what will end up happening is that their interest rates on variable are just going to keep going up. Now, if their mortgage payments are just going to keep going up, as we all know, interest rates have now gone up to 2.25 from 1.75. So what's going to happen now? So what would happen to a person who's on variable interest rates? They can't just exit because they're going to have early redemption charges. Maybe if the early redemption charges aren't so much and maybe they're on their last year, then they can exit and jump onto a fixed one. But if they're on their variable one and they cannot jump out, and perhaps the interest rates might be, the penalty might be a lot, like 5 or 4%, and they cannot afford to come out, what's going to happen then? Well, obviously, if their mortgage payments are just going to keep going up, while the rent is still stagnant, it's not going to keep going up, what's going to happen? Eventually, they're not going to be able to afford paying the mortgage payments because their income is either the same or less than their outgoings. So it's going to put them a bit in a sticky situation. Either they're going to have to let go of the property to get possessed by the bank when they're not going to be able to pay their payments, or they will have to quickly sell it, take that money and pay the early redemption charges and just get rid of it, where they have now lost their deposit. Or maybe they've made it back through the rental income that they've had over time, but generally it is not the outcome that they were expecting when they first bought the property. That's scenario 1. Scenario 2, they're on fixed mortgages, but now their fixed mortgages are coming to an end. Interest rates are rising, but they cannot afford to renew it at the current rates because they are ridiculous, they're so high. So what's going to happen? They're going to tend to look towards selling that property. And if there's not so much money in the market as it is now, what's going to happen? They're going to have less demand. Less people looking to put their interest forward. Rightmove has just reported it's the first fall of prices in 2022. Average UK houses prices have now fallen in August of 2022, and this is the first drop. So what's going to happen is that people would say, hey, I can't take this debt. Interest rates are going up. I can't afford it because not like my salary is suddenly going up. It's not. So what they will say is, I want to get rid of this house. If it's a homeowner, he can't afford the now ongoing interest rates, he's going to say, I'm going to sell off my house and I'm going to start renting. Or if it's a landlord having a buy-to-let, his income is reduced and mortgages have gone up, he's also going to say, I just want to get rid of this property. So what's going to happen is rents are going to keep going up, but property prices are going to keep going down for a bit. Eventually, they will pick back up. But what happens to people who are not cash rich and cannot sustain themselves in this current storm? What's going to happen then? So it's quite important for you to know when what timing are you in currently? What's the economy like right now? Are people thriving or are they just trying to survive? So timing is very crucial where you enter. And perhaps now would actually be a good time for property investors to be picking up below market value deals. If you're connected, you can get yourself very good deals now. Yes, you will struggle with your current interest rates. You will not have the best yields now as prices start to drop. But what will happen eventually is that this crisis, just like every other crisis before, will come to an end. And when it does, you will renew your mortgage rates and you will have yourself a fantastic deal. So yes, timing does matter. And in fact, now would also be a good time. But the most important thing is that you do a stress test. Whatever deal you get for yourself, you want to do a stress test. What happens if the economy gets even worse? Because what lenders are picky right now. What if the lender is not going to give you a fixed rate, but you know this deal is so good because you know this market very well, and you know that when market recovers, this will be a diamond deal that you're getting at a very cheap price. So you want to stress test. If the lender is not going to give you fixed mortgages, they will at least give you a variable. So you want to stress test and understand that, hey, what if interest rate touches 5%? Or Bank of England pushes it to 6%? Or even 7%? Will you still survive? Because as we all know, after the war in 1900s, if I'm not mistaken, around the 1970s, interest rates are going up. They touched about 14 to 15%. So what if that happens again? It can be worrisome. When you look into history, after Britain came out of a war in the 1900s, the interest rates were very high because they were trying to counter inflation. So it is very crucial that you do your research and you do your stress test, that you will be able to sustain this property even if market gets worse. Because things are not nice now and they're not going to get any nicer very soon. But over long term, yes, they will always pick back up to where they are now and even further up. So to summarize, that's very important, timing. Know when you're entering the market. Second important thing is location. Location is extremely important and they will vary from investors to investors where they prefer to invest in. A lot of people, I personally know of, tend to avoid London because the yields you get there are very low. And yes, property appreciation is there, but it's not going to be as high as if you discover a location where not many people are flocking in there, but there is very high regeneration schemes there, money being pumped and invested into that city to make it flourish. So you want to discover that kind of a city where property prices are very low, like up north. If you look up north, property prices are very low. Compared to Birmingham or London, they're very cheap. But if you look at what kind of regeneration schemes are there, what money is being invested into that city, which will help the property prices to go up because of the demand. When people start migrating into that city, population will increase. Eventually, everyone will need a place to rent or to live. So either they will buy or either they will rent. So whatever regeneration is there, is it going to attract people to move into that city, which will make the property prices to double or even triple up in time. So location is very important. Which city you're investing in, which one you're not. It's not always just about the yield. Focus on capital appreciation as well. Find an undiscovered location. A lot of money is being pumped there and you should go there. The third thing that you should keep your eye out on is people. What kind of people will you be working with if you're investing in that area, that location, that street, or that city? Who's that estate agent or letting agent that will look after your property? I'll give you a brief example. Recently, we had a problem with one of the property with 3 toilets in there. We sent in one of the builder, a plumber. He gave a quotation of £150 per toilet to rectify the problem, and he explained us what the problem was. My property manager personally understands this, and he was like, hey, £150 per toilet for that part, it sounds a bit too expensive. He sent in his second plumber and said, hey, can you fix this? And the second plumber fixed it at £40 per toilet. That's a big difference. Especially if you have a buy-to-let and you've got to save that every £100-200 that you can to make your property work, especially in current circumstances. That's a big difference. Where you could have spent £450 for 3 toilets, you're just spending £120. 40. That's a big difference. So you want to be able to trust the people that you're going to be working with, and that they know the game, they know the market. They're not just blind, they're experimenting with your properties, but they are experienced. They're not using your property as a ladder for them to go up in ranks, that they are just starting off. Rather, you want to go to someone experienced who knows what they're doing, and they will look after you with their experience. Very crucial. The location you're investing in. So estate agent, letting agent, very important. The people in your power team. Contractors. If you're managing it yourself, what kind of contractors are out there? Are they those that have so much demand, they just don't have time to take more work? And if that's the case, and if you're new to the game, they're just going to charge you a lot. So you want to find people that you can trust, rely. Recommendations, very crucial. In this game, recommendations, very crucial, especially with contractors. They could do a messy job, take your money and run away. I'm not saying all builders are like that, not at all. Don't take me wrong. But a lot of them have also done that. So you want to be crucial, get recommendations. Also, the property you're buying, is that an income generating property with already tenants in there? Or are you going to be having an empty property for you to find yourself your own tenants and manage it yourself? Because if it's already an income generating property, you might not know who the tenant is, where they work, how much they earn. How do they pay the previous guy? Are they in arrears? Are they not in arrears? What kind of job is he in? Has he been there employed for a long time, or is he just going to leave now? You're not going to have all this information because perhaps the current owner doesn't have that information. All you're going to know is that, hey, this guy pays the rent. You can ask for bank statements if they provide you. Yes, well and good. At least you'll know that guy pays on time. So a lot of things have to go in consideration. That place that you're renting out your property, what kind of jobs do they have? Do they make 2 times more than... is their salary 2 times more than the rent? 3 times? 4 times? 5 times more than the rent? Or is it just equivalent and they're living paycheck to paycheck, paying the rent, house bills, and they're broke? Very crucial for you to understand. If you're buying in an area where the salary is 3 times more than the rent, that's good. 4 to 5 times, even better. So the people you're going to be dealing with in that area, very important. If you go to Liverpool, they're high established areas and places which are not so good. And the people that don't even earn half as much as what their rent is, they're just relying on housing benefits. So you want to be aware what kind of people you're going to be working with. Will the agents work with those kind of tenants? You want to understand the whole background around the people you're going to be working with in that location. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. It's just been a few factors that I feel a lot of people haven't been talking about. So I hope you find it useful. If you have, please hit the like button and I will see you in the next video.